to galacticconnection.com, one of the most popular blogs on the World Wide Web today for alternative news. Stay tuned for the latest information on our world shift from enslavement to galactic involvement, as well as current intel on any blockages impeding us from our sovereign birthright. Knowledge and self-mastery are key at this time. Our commitment is to present you with the latest breaking conspiratorial articles, off-world messages, exopolitics, cutting-edge technologies and sciences, and also an ever-significant intertwining of spiritual support and metaphysical scope that one needs to dive down the rabbit hole in search for truth with balance. We are truly on the horizon of a new golden age filled with the promise for more love, worldwide peace, and accelerated intuitive skills, where every living being can exist in cohesion and abundance. It is whatever we envision and dream this new world to be. I say to you now, let's redefine the new world to the beginnings of our own precious heaven on earth. Galactic Connection is here to provide the pulse of Mother Earth through an eclectic range of interviews each Tuesday afternoon from 3 to 4:55 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Station 2 on BBS Radio, expanding your perspectives on how we can once and for all take back our freedoms, our joy, and our connection with our mighty I Am presence. Our intention remains true to connect hearts and minds everywhere in order to obtain global unity and galactic and universal acceptance. Our discussions will continue to cover anything to do with galactic society and our involvement with our galactic brothers and sisters. Our guests are experts in their fields, and our radio shows have been coined as some of the most thought-provoking out there. In addition to our daily blog, which runs 365 days a year, we also offer a realm of healing services such as our world-renowned implant removal processes, our spiritual past life clearings, our galactic violet ray alchemy from Alexandra, who shares in the lineage of Merlin, and other cutting-edge healing technologies. Check our site out at galacticconnection.com now, sending you a wave of light, love, and inspiration, and a personal hug and thank you for listening to our Galactic Connection radio show and visiting our blog today. Today is June 4th, 2013, and I have Cobra with me today to review a bunch of questions that were submitted to galacticconnection.com, and we will be trying to review a little bit of May's events and the questions, so bear with us. We may have to do this in two segments. There is a lot to cover. I do want to point out that Cobra is being kind enough to have this interview in Hawaii right now in the midst of the other goddess conference that they're having with ISIS. So, hey, Cobra, are you enjoying the Hawaii weather? How's it going over there?
The weather is excellent, the energies are marvelous, and everything is just perfect.
Cool. So do you feel like you guys had a major breakthrough over there?
Oh, yes, there's another breakthrough after the Irvine Laguna conference and the opening of a portal. There is another breakthrough happening right here, and also not just here. There is a major transformation taking place between the resistance movement and the Galactic Confederation. I will post more about this in my blog.
Fantastic. You know, a lot of us are noticing there has definitely been a shift since the May 25th portal opening.
Yes.
I mean, a huge shift. We all are feeling it.
Yes, this was the purpose of the opening of the portal when we did it, and so now we can harvest the good effects of it.
Good. God, that's great. So I'm going to start out with maybe some questions first, because a lot of people are really anxious to hear your feedback. And the first one I thought was really interesting is, how exactly is the Agarthan network going to play a role in the time of the event? Will they be the first ones to visit us, or will it be the Pleiadians? There's a lot of conflicting information out there on that.
Yeah, it's a very good question, because there are big changes happening right now. Actually, I will explain a little bit the background of this. The Agarthan network is a very old network of light which existed underground for many, many thousands of years. And the resistance movement is a fresh impulse of light which came from planet X just a few years ago. So there was a certain process of integration of resistance movement, of the underground resistance movement and the Agarthan network. And right now, as a consequence of the opening of the portal on May 25th, there is another integration process taking place between the reunited resistance movement and the Agarthan network and Galactic Confederation. So I would say that the subsurface portions of this planet are now being integrated into the Galactic Society. More details about this will be on my blog. And when the event happens, it will be a gradual exposure of all those different races, elements, and societies.
Wow. I mean, so you're really saying that they've gotten the go-ahead to start arriving on, extrovertedly around the planet.
I will explain. I will explain part of this now, and a part of this in a special release on my blog when I have the right moment to do so. So, at the event, the mass population will be only exposed to surface-based operatives. I would say white knights. There will be no direct exposure between the mass population and any of the exotic races or even the resistance movement, even the Pleiadians. This will come gradually after the event, because very soon after the event, the disclosure files will be released. And by disclosure files, I'm saying the official government documents of the existence of extraterrestrial races. And this will slowly prepare, or shall we say prepare humanity fast for the existence and the reality of other races. And when that happens, it will be a gradual process that will take a few months until the first contact. So the event itself will be a purely human, outwardly, it will be a purely human experience. Because humanity is not ready to receive any type of extraterrestrial contact before the event happens, before the exposure of the cabal, before the transformation of the financial system, and before the official government files are released. And when this is done, humanity will go through a certain transformation, psychological adjustment period, and after that there will be a gradual appearance of more and more direct contact, leading to official first contact.
Interesting. So most of the contact with the White Knights, would that be primarily directed towards the star seeds on the family? On the Earth?
Okay, the White Knights will contact anybody who is capable of assisting in the process of the event.
Okay.
And yes, most of those people came to this planet long time ago from other star systems, whether they remember it or not. This is not so important. What is important is their willingness and capability of assisting in the process, in the operation itself, in the actual managing the event itself.
Okay, that makes sense. Well, that leads to this other question, which is people are asking all over the place how they can be part of the resistance. And I know that you've already answered that at the conference, but would you address that again? People are asking how they can be a member or a volunteer or a recruit.
Okay, so what we are creating soon is the surface infrastructure for the event. And you are not officially becoming part of the resistance, you're becoming part of the surface ground crew, I would call it. And on this conference in Irvine, we have created a certain task force which will be able to join. We are creating a website with various subgroups, and you will be able to join those subgroups. And each of those subgroups will be focused on their specific task in providing the alternative infrastructure for the event. For example, the financial group will assist in the transitional period when the banks will be shut down. The New Renaissance group will provide new forms of art to awaken the masses, and so on and so on. And I hope this website will be running and operational as soon as possible so I can release further instructions from the resistance about the whole thing.
Yeah, we're working on that, and we're working a lot on that stuff.
I know.
So
there is a lot of activity. Many people are very active and very dedicated, and this is a great time and a great opportunity for all of us to become part of this. So very shortly, instructions and information will be given to the masses, to the mass population. I will release certain things. As soon as the website is ready, you can step into action.
This is really exciting. So one one person that wrote in was asking to have more clarity about the full consciousness coming forward through the chambers somewhere in Agartha. Do you agree with that? And if so, would it take about 3 days to be within these chambers to receive our full consciousness or not?
I will explain. There was a lot of disinformation about the chambers, fear-based misinformation stating that the chambers are not of the light. Actually, those chambers are very advanced light technology, organic, integrated technology that will assist us in reaching our full consciousness. And there will be a gradual introduction of those chambers to the surface population at a certain moment after the event, I would say around the time of the first contact. So they will be used individually to those advanced light workers that are ready for them, even before the first contact, but after the event, and more massively after the first contact and as we come deeper into the whole ascension process.
Okay. Wow, this is so exciting.
Oh yes. Finally, we're almost there.
I know it. You can just feel it. I mean, it really did shift after May 25th. It really did.
Yes, this is why I was issuing the call for as many people as possible to join, because the more people join those portals, the more effect we have on a planetary situation. And this is the other part of the answer to people's questions, what they can do. When the portal arrives, when any of the activation arrives, gather as many people as possible to reach the critical mass. And also the third thing is the Sunday meditations. As many people as possible, if they gather on Sunday to meditate, to liberate the planet, the more we can be efficient and the more we can speed up the process.
Yeah, this is definitely true. And we definitely all want to speed up the process, folks.
Yes.
So a lot of people are asking that are kind of new to your information to describe the event. And I was wondering, you do it so eloquently. Can you go over that again?
Okay, number one, all information about the event is on my blog. So if you search my blog, you will find everything there. Number two, I will create an ebook with all the information from the blog that will be available when the time is right, when I have time to do it. I have so many projects, but this is one of the projects that might manifest in the next few months. So everything will be in an ebook. But for now, the event is actual moment of breakthrough for the planet, which will be physical and non-physical. On the non-physical planes, there will be a big wave of light coming from the galactic central sun, going towards the surface of the planet. And on the physical plane, it will be the arrest of the cabal, the reset of the financial system, the release of the information, and the beginning of the new fair financial system, and then the awakening of humanity slowly and gradually to the existence of the positive non-terrestrial races and introduction of new advanced technologies.
Wow.
That's a short overview, but there's much more to it.
Yes, there definitely is. And I have the 41-page compilation of Cobra's conference in November. It has an extremely detailed account of what the event is. So you can go to my website, you can click on the conference for 2012, Cobra conference, and you'll get all that information there as well in the meantime. Okay, so a lot of people are asking about the money. You know, not only have they heard it from you, but from everyone else, to take their money out of the banks. And many people are wondering, where do you recommend that they put it?
Okay, I would recommend to put part of this money in precious metals, part of the money in land, and part of the money you can use it for your enjoyment of life, because money is not meant to be just stockpiled; it is meant to be enjoyed. And also, you can put part of the money in the projects that can assist in the planetary liberation. There are many ways that you can use that money to further and speed up the process.
I hear you there. So, okay, now that brings me to the next topic, which is the dinar. And people are getting a ton of information, Cobra, in the last week that things have really shifted. The dinar has been RV'd. What is your take on that? I know you've been very adamant about until the financial system switches over, it's not happening.
Yeah, it's not happening. Actually, the whole idea is not exactly correct, because the RV will happen at the event and it will not be as drastic as some people hope. Yes, people can invest some of their money into this and they might get a little bit of profit from this, but this is not It is not the purpose of the transformation of financial system to be just a speculation for some of the people to gain their personal gains. It is more of a global transformation of the rules of the game. So the dinar thing is not the main financial tool for getting rich. It is not the main issue here. And most of it is disinformation because people are expecting this to happen every day, every moment, and it's not happening.
And that has been going on. That is such a CIA tactic, by the way, because they did it with Omega, they did it with the prosperity funds, and it literally brought people completely to a halt in their personal lives.
Okay, so I will explain. There were some prosperity funds which were real and valid, but again, they were taken over by the cabal. The cabal has interfered with those prosperity funds and actually literally stolen the money. And there were many, of course, that were fake.
Yes, yes.
So you need to be careful with those things.
Yeah, because there was something like over 70 of them.
There are many programs, and actually, the major investment programs are not accessible to the masses at the moment because they're in the hands of the cabal. And there are some white knights trying to get access to those programs and transform them. But the main transformation will happen at the time of the event when the whole thing will be shut down and reset.
Okay. Okay, folks, you heard it. He's very consistent on his answers regarding that. Okay, so this is a very interesting question, Cobra, and I was not aware that this has been happening, but did you know that there have not been basically any crop circles in the year of 2013?
Very few, very few.
And this guy is asking why. Why is that?
Okay, the purpose of the crop circles was to awaken a certain part of the human population and to get their attention. And now the purpose is to awaken the next segment, and people will start asking why they have suddenly stopped. It is a plan for the crop circles to reappear again sometime during this year, but not until people start asking questions why there are so less of them.
Interesting. So that's just another way to get us to start pondering and reflecting.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Very cool. Now, what is your take on another solar system traveling through ours? And
it's not happening. It's not happening.
And is that because of the galactic intervention?
No, there are simply people who disseminate strange ideas that have no basis in reality. And I would recommend everybody to get their basic understanding of science, of astronomy, of how things work in this universe, and they will be more able to discern what is true and what is not.
Okay. Because there is a lot of fear-mongering going on out there as far as the cataclysm of the planet, and there is some confusion within the community as far as the waves. You know, for example, do you agree that there will be a time where if people have not chosen to ascend with the planet, will the planet, the old so-called 3D planet, will that experience a cataclysm?
Okay, I will explain. Most of this is just dissemination of fear. Actually, the Galactic Confederation has technology to stabilize the planet and has been stabilizing the planet for decades now. And without the assistance of the Galactic Confederation, we would have massive cataclysms now. The process of planetary ascension will require a planetary transformation of the physical plane at a certain point. But this is not now. It is not yet. Definitely not before the event. And the humanity will not be harmed in the process.
Cool. Okay.
So there's nothing to fear. Everything is guided. There have been so many instances that things could go wrong and they didn't. There was no nuclear war, there was no massive cataclysms, and it will not happen.
And you feel it. If you really tap in, you feel it. You feel safe.
Yes.
And I just don't have that feeling of, oh my God, the sky is falling.
No, it's not. Actually, there is a certain idea of the global coastal event for this month, and it's not happening.
Yeah, that's true. That's been flying around for the East Coast.
It's not happening. So people can just relax and focus on more important things.
Okay, good.
It is just a tactics to divert people from real issues and taking action.
Yes, this is true. It's always a diversion, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
So jumping back to the money thing, there are some people from around the world that are, using obviously different currencies than the U.S. dollar, and they're wanting to know, are you feeling that taking the money out of the bank applies to everyone? And are you feeling that maybe some currencies are safer than others at this bridging time?
All banks are tied to the central banking system of the Rothschilds, so they are all the same conditions apply anywhere in the world.
That's what I
So
agree with.
I would suggest everybody take their money out of the bank, regardless of where they are.
And
because if you keep your money in the bank, you are lending your money to the cabal and assisting them. You're actually financing their war operations.
I agree, and you're prolonging the changeover.
Yes.
You know. Well, this guy was basically saying it's not safe to carry cash at all in his country, and so he was wondering, what you should do. I already have an answer in my head, but I'd like to hear yours.
If it's not safe to carry cash around, you can hide it in a certain location. You can transfer it into land, or you can buy land. You can buy gold. There are many various ways you can protect yourself. But money is not safe in the bank anyway.
Yeah, no, it's not. Didn't they seize a whole bunch of safe deposit boxes back about 6 months ago?
Oh yes, and also safe deposit boxes are not that safe. They will be this is the first thing that will be seized, that Cabal will try to seize if they get panic.
Yeah, and they're already prepping us with that because of the executive orders that they're passing here in the United States.
This is one aspect of it, yes.
Yeah. So, okay, now this question's come up quite a bit, and I know you've addressed this many times, but do you feel that the military underground facilities are definitely kaput? Are they definitely gone? Are people not being held in cages and being sexually and psychologically abused by the cabal in these locations?
Okay, I will say it again. All underground facilities have been completely and absolutely shut down and clear. There is nothing down there. There are no underground military bases. There is nothing wrong happening there anymore. There were drastic interventions by the resistance movement to clear those things, and they're now clear. Everything that's wrong that's happening is now happening on the surface.
Excellent. And they were also asking, were the reptilians involved in this? Were they taken off planet?
Many of the reptilians were killed in the battles that were taking place as those bases were liberated.
Okay.
And they were, without their bodies, they were teleported in front of the Galactic Court, and certain decisions were made about their future. And those of them who decided to cross over into the light have joined the Galactic Society, and the rest of them went to the Galactic Central Sun.
Well, now on the flip side of that, what about all of those that had been imprisoned and abused and being, basically experimented on? What happened to those folks?
Those folks who were in the underground bases and have been abused, most of them, all of them have been liberated. Most of them have received healing and support from the resistance, and were they then transported to the motherships, received additional healings, and some of them are waiting on the motherships for the planetary transformation to happen, and some of them went to other planets. Very few of them have returned to the surface of the planet because most of them refused to return.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Now, do you feel that this major increase in deaths, I hear this from a lot of doctors, practitioners, there's a very large increase of people passing at this time?
I would not agree with that. I would say there is a segment of population which chooses to exit more, but generally speaking, it is all about the same.
Okay, because I thought maybe the older population, they feel like they have a better option getting out of here.
Not yet.
Okay. Now, what is your feeling, Cobra, about the space debris surrounding Gaia? There's been a lot of articles written about that. How are we going to dispose that? And are we looking at completely shutting down a computer system because of it?
No. Actually, what's going to happen at the event, or after the event, the Galactic Confederation will clear all that. It's very easy. It's a 15 minutes operation.
Oh, wow. Seriously?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. So they are basically, you had said at the conference, everybody's ready to roll, right? I mean, everybody's kind of in standby.
Well, everything is ready except the surface population, and that's why we are now trying to build, or actually we are building, an alternative surface infrastructure for the event. Of course, the resistance, they have their infrastructure. The White Knights, the positive military, they have their own network. I'm not allowed to speak about in detail. But we need to have an alternative infrastructure, as many people as possible becoming part of the operation. So that's why we're building right now.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. Now, this was an interesting question. What is your feeling about the yogis and the mystics that have been spending years and years and years trying to send peace and light to the planet? They kind of hang out very much in the background in the caves and the forests of India and the Tibet. And this gentleman wanted me to ask you, what do you feel they have contributed to this whole new Earth and the transition?
Basically, they have held the vision where everybody was ignorant. They held the light for the planet. They held the portals open, and part of them actually belong to the Brotherhood of the Star, and even to the Agarthan network. So they actually held the vision for the planet and assisted in stabilizing the planet, so that we went up until this point quite smoothly through the transition.
Well, he also wanted to know, do you have contact with these people?
I have a certain contact with Brotherhood of the Star.
Okay. Amongst a lot of others.
Yeah, so there's so many contacts, yeah.
Yeah,
And all of
definitely.
them are needed because I need to have the complete puzzle as possible to coordinate things here.
I bet. Now, regarding the portal opening, you had mentioned on your site about how the entities have now been confined to a 30-meter layer around the surface of the Earth.
Yeah, 30 meters up and 30 meters down, that's total 60 meters.
Okay. Now, has that shifted since the portal opened?
No, this is actually at the portal, this has been confined to 30 meters and it's staying there. But it's getting less and less dense. There is more and more light penetrating through that layer.
Do you feel that because it's such a smaller layer in which they can roam, for lack of better terms, do you feel that this is becoming more of a problem for humans as far as they clinging on to us more fiercely?
Well, I think it will be the same. It will not become more of a problem because they have been desperate for quite so long. It will still be intense because there are still quite many of them that have to be cleared, but we're getting closer to the breakthrough.
Yeah, I agree with you. Now, here's a question, Cobra. I'm really curious what your answer will be on this one. Do you feel that the Earth is expanding?
No, it is not. It has the same diameter, and the same diameter will stay.
Bummer. I was hoping you might have something cool. Drunvalo was also saying that there is a good chance that 1 to 6 months without electricity, communication, internet are very high from April through September. And this individual, Clay, he wanted to know if you agree with that.
I do not agree with it. As I said many times, the event itself, the whole transformation, the critical moments, will last maybe 1 or 2 weeks, but not longer. And this is why we are making all those preparations, and this is why it's taking so long. So to shorten and ease the critical moments. And in most cases, the electricity will stay intact, the network will stay intact, and you might even have internet during the transition.
That's great. And we've talked about this before. It's only 7 to 14 days.
Yes. It should not be longer. It's extremely unlikely that things could go that wrong.
Good. Okay, everybody, you heard that. Okay, now everybody's been talking about the final liberation and the taking of the archons off planet and that sort of thing, and they just cannot wrap their brains around why has there not been an ability to get them to stop when there's so many less of them, so many more of us, so much more light on the planet. What is your take on that?
Most of the surface population is still heavily influenced by the non-physical archons. They actually dictate about 70 to 80% of human behavior at least. And if the event would be triggered now, many people will go crazy. And we want to prevent that. So first we'll clear the archons, so humans are by themselves, and then we will trigger the event.
And he also asked, do you feel that the vortex energy is less powerful without the meditations that you've been promoting?
Well, the meditation is very specifically designed to help liberating the planet. And the purpose of this meditation is to spread around the world and gather the critical mass to do the same thing. If people are doing their own thing at a meditation, they decrease the power because there is less synchronicity, less alignment, and it does not help the critical mass so much. So this meditation was given with that specific purpose, to reach the critical mass and to assist and to speed the transition.
Okay. Now, do you also feel that there still are negative aliens such as reptilians, Nephilim, in physical form on the Earth, or is it just in the etheric and astral realms?
Okay, some of them are incarnated in human bodies. They look like humans, but they're actually reptilians. For example, George Bush the Younger is a full reptilian in a human body.
Yeah, you can just tell with him. My God.
Yeah, he's a classical example.
He is so clearly it. Okay. Now, you are familiar with Tolek, are you not?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Now, he has been talking about the event also entailing massive catastrophic earth changes, and it's something to do with the old timeline. What is your take on that? Again, I feel like everybody has bits of the puzzle, but we're missing pieces as far as being able to see the timeline and how it plays out.
All negative timelines have been completely erased as we opened the portal on December 21st last year. So there will be no cataclysmic events at the moment of the event.
Okay, cool. And what about all this fear-mongering about the concentration camps that are popping up all over the U.S.? People are freaking out about that because there's a lot of video coverage on it. There's a lot of movement of tanks. There's a lot of purchase of ammo. And they know that there's this fear-based kind of tactic on the part of the cabal, but they're wondering, we physically see it going down, at least in the United States. So what is your take?
Okay, the cabal is building those facilities, or has been building those facilities for decades. It is good that people are aware of them, but they will never be used. It will not be allowed to happen. The cabal will never be able to use those facilities or use that ammo. It is there, it is sitting there in the warehouses, but it will not be allowed. It will not be permitted.
Cool.
If they would try to do that, the event would happen immediately as a precaution to stop it.
Excellent.
They would if they would try to put people in there, the event would be triggered immediately, and it would just speed up their own arrest.
Well, they've never said that before. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's just it's part of the plan. So we have covered everything. There will be no martial law. There will be no strange things happening in the FEMA camps. It will not be allowed. It will not be tolerated.
Okay, well, this leads to another conspiracy theory, which isn't necessarily a theory, and that is HARP. And a lot of people have read and seen some very convincing videos on the tornadoes that came across Oklahoma and parts on May 20th. And they wanted to know if HARP influenced that situation, if that was, compelled by the cabal, and was this part of their last effort to affect the portal opening?
That could not influence the portal opening. What is happening is there is an etheric HARP, which can, to a certain degree, influence the weather. It is not the physical technology, it is the etheric technology, because all weather formations are heavily influenced from the etheric plane, and people don't know that. Actually, the scalar waves propagate through the etheric plane, and the non-physical archons still have that technology. They can use sometimes, but again, our meditations can influence the weather in a positive way. So even if there is a tornado or a hurricane forming, a global mass meditation would be able to decrease its efficiency or even dissolve it.
Excellent. So now everybody knows why the meditations are so important.
So when the hurricane season comes, and if there is a big hurricane forming, somebody can organize a mass meditation worldwide, and we would be able to change the destiny of this hurricane.
Yeah, we should start doing that.
Do it.
That's a really good idea. So what about Sandy? Did you feel that was influenced by HARP at all?
It was influenced from the etheric plane, but it backfired on the cabal, because at that moment, as some people know, some of this original...
I lost you, Cobra. Cobra, are you there?
Priest.
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can. Well, this connection with Hawaii is a little spotty, folks. But anyway, can you repeat what you said?
Exactly. I'm not exactly in the middle of civilization right now, so we have no internet connection here. Just a little bit of this iPhone Skype.
Yes.
This is the only.
Yes. So I didn't hear what you said about Sandy and HARP. Can you repeat that?
Again, this was influenced from the etheric plane with the etheric harp, and it was a part of the attempt of the Cabal to frighten the population.
Okay. So now a lot of people are asking about the current G7 meeting. Do you have any intel on that you could share as to what came out of that and what the resistance is doing to counteract?
Not yet. In a few days, not yet.
Okay, cool. And have you heard about Chris Thomas?
No.
Are you familiar with him? He's really interesting. He's a teleporter. He's a remote viewer. He's gotten into some really heavy stuff within the government to be able to retract information on what they've been doing. And he claims that there's this race called the Velons. Have you ever heard of this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so he was claiming that the Velon Anunnaki have infiltrated the Illuminatis. They've become more powerful because of it. They embody themselves in human bodies, and supposedly they were destroyed some years ago. He's saying that the world population is around 3.2 billion instead of 7. What is your feeling about that?
The world population is about 7 billion, and yes, there was infiltration into the Illuminati network by many races in the past. It was not a static network. It was a very dynamic network.
So it's constantly changing. Okay.
Actually, it's just diminishing. It's not changing anymore. We have a certain number of those who are still present on the surface, and they're slowly being cut down and removed.
Cool. Yay. So what is the true story behind Benghazi? Is it true that Hillary crashed in a plane and that was the reason that she kind of disappeared because they tried to kidnap her?
Oh, there are so many stories about this, but all this is again a diversion tactic to put too much of your consciousness into details that are not relevant to the whole situation. It's another trick.
That's so true. Okay, and then here's the one that's really important, and that is, what is your take on the current situation with President Obama and his staff members? What do you feel he's doing at this point? Is he starting to see the light? Is he starting to communicate with, the Galactic Federation? And do you feel that he's holding a bridge for the old and the new society?
I will put it this way. The truth of the Obama situation will be released at the event, and it will be a surprise for many. That's all I'm allowed to say.
Okay, I kind of thought that was what you were going to say. Okay, now this is a question. It says, what is the role of the Arcturians at the time of disclosure? Are they the keepers of the Stargate, or of the Ascension portals, or the corridors?
Okay, the Arcturian race has been working on the planetary energy grid for quite a long time, and it is one of the key races to keep the portals open in this sector of the galaxy. And at a certain moment after the event, the Arcturian race will step forward and assist in the mass ascension process. But this is not yet. This is happening quite some time after the event.
Okay, so they will not be one of the forefront type races to come forth. It'll be more like the Pleiadians and the Agarthans, correct?
Actually, there will be one part of the operation that the Arcturians will be quite involved, and this is the dissemination of information, the releasing of the truth. This will be their role. They will assist in that quite much.
Okay. Wow. Now, what is your feeling about the recalibration of the DNA? What is going on with our bodies as far as the DNA changing, us becoming light bodies? Can you go into that a little bit more? There have been some questions on that.
Again, this is not just about the physical DNA. We have the etheric DNA, and the etheric DNA should have fully activated 12 strands. They have been messed with in the past. And now the energy of the light from the galactic center is recovering them, realigning them so that we can begin to awaken our higher psychic abilities. And it's a gradual process. But again, even now, this gradual process has been interfered with from the etheric plane with the technology of the Archons. So this process is not yet happening as it should be, but it will be after the event. So there will be many spontaneous awakenings after the event as a result of this DNA realignment.
Okay. And what do you feel as far as when the ascension takes place, or actually we're in the midst of ascension right now, but he's saying the mass ascension. Do you believe that we are already in the fourth density or not?
Okay, the fourth dimension, or as people call it, fourth density, is actually the astral plane. And we are in the process of transforming that. It's a great purification. Before the real ascension process can begin, there is a mass purification process of humanity. And this is what's happening especially strong in the last few years. And when this purification process will be over at the time of the event, then only, and only then, the real ascension process can start.
Okay. And do you actually believe that we're going to, a lot of people are kind of ragging on the word ascension because they're talking about it being an inside job. What is your feeling about ascension per se? Are we going to wake up one day in the fifth dimension and go, wow, we're in completely different place, different body? What is your opinion on that?
It is a gradual process that will culminate in the final transformation. And before we get there, there are so many things that need to happen, and they will happen. So we're not yet at the point of the actual ascension. We're at the point where we're even preparing for this to start. And this starts at the event. And then the galactic energies will increase and lead us through the transformation. But again, it's a gradual process which will culminate in the actual ascension at a certain point in the future.
Now, a lot of people, as you know, are following Neil Keenan, and I know you're familiar with him.
Yes, yes.
And he is really doing a lot of work with this physical gold that he's constantly talking about. You are always adamant about the gold has been taken off the planet or it's been hidden in various locations. What do you feel Neil Keenan's, role is in this whole watching over this supposed gold and really being kind of a mouthpiece to get this done, to expose?
Okay, I would put it this way. There are many people that are working on this, and they're not public. So I would say you can take his situation, or I would say that what he's doing, I would not comment on what he's doing, but I would say the process is taking place, and it is not just about Neil Keenan. It is about so much more. It is hard to comment on this because there is a certain part of this that needs to remain undisclosed at the moment. It's a very sensitive question in a way, so I would not answer that.
Okay, and I respect that. So, okay, now that's pretty much it for all the questions. I do have one more. I had one woman ask me, and this is really wild. She says, is our pineal gland an archon implant to keep us mind controlled, or are we supposed to move beyond it?
No, it is a natural gland which has the purpose of bringing in the light. It is not an implant. The implants have been implanted in the head area since the Atlantis to shut down the pineal gland.
Okay, so we have a little bit of time to go over May with you, but before we do, is there anything you want to say in regards to May from an energetic perspective?
Well, the main thing is, of course, the opening of the portal, which was successful, as some of you might be able to feel, and it has triggered a certain process that will assist us in getting to the event and even further than that.
Awesome. We really are moving, aren't we, Cobra? It feels like we're really moving forward finally.
Yes, we are.
It feels so good. So I wanted to go over a couple things with you. We probably will run out of time, folks, so Cobra has very nicely agreed to do a second review with me at the end of the week. He's traveling right now. So we won't be able to review May because there is a lot to go over in the month of May. But one of the things I wanted to ask you about was you follow Ben Fulford, do you not?
Yes, I'm familiar with his work.
Okay, and so I find it very interesting. He talks about how Netanyahu has been threatening Japan and destroying their nuclear reactors if they didn't write off all the U.S. debt. And I wanted to see what your opinion was about that. What do you see going on?
Yeah. That information is correct, and Netanyahu was just part of the network which had that goal, and actually it was a Jesuit operation. He was just an executor of that operation.
Interesting. And then he also mentions that if the American people are to be free, the military must come up with a temporary takeover of the key centers of power. You did discuss a little bit of this at the conference. What is your feeling about that?
Actually, the military will not take over. It will assist and support the civil authority to take over, which has a legal right to do so. So it will be a legal operation. Everything will be completely aligned with the galactic and even terrestrial laws, which are valid.
Yes, I can't wait.
So it's not actually a takeover. It's a liberation of those places.
I think it's just so difficult for us to wrap our brains around this. So,
simple. The criminal cabal is now occupying those places, and this needs to stop.
Yes, it does. Big time. Now, how about George Soros? He's mentioning that there's quite a few large figures that we see in the public, and they are not being so public anymore. They're kind of disappearing. He mentioned George Soros and Nat Rothschild. What do you think about that?
He was disinformed about that. They are actually still appearing in the public, and if you read his blog carefully, he posted a short notice that yes, Nathan has been seen I think in Romania or Bulgaria on some conference, and there are pictures of him there. So they are still quite alive, and they are here. They have a little bit more of their showtime, but not much.
And can you clarify who the Sabbatian mafiosi is?
Actually, this is Sabbatians are a certain sect that was created, and they actually worship the other side, the dark side. So this is just a description of that Jewish sect, and many members of the cabal belong to that ideology.
Okay, and then
it is a distorted ideology which I completely disagree with.
Yeah, I bet. Don't they worship, like, I know they had like a big owl.
Okay, I will explain. The symbols they use are actually good symbols, but they distort them and misuse them. Owl is actually a symbol of wisdom, an ancient symbol of wisdom, and they have just taken the symbol, as many others, and distorted it, because when they do that, they actually can twist and distort the energy current that goes through the symbol, and this is how they keep their network, their negative energy network, running.
Correct. Okay. Thank you for that. Now, he also mentioned that the Asian financial leaders have agreed to generously finance non-military Western ventures once the financial standoff ends. Do you feel that that's already beginning?
It's not yet beginning. Actually, the Eastern Positive Alliance is a little bit cautious. They're waiting for the green light for this to happen. And they will not step into action, in my opinion, before the event. They're simply very cautious. They have good intentions, but they are a little bit afraid. They don't want to for this operation to fail. And I actually agree with that.
Yeah, definitely. There's too many lives on the line.
Yes.
Now, this was something I probably have never heard before. He mentioned that there's apparently a story flying around that 1 million refugees will be looking for a place to go after they leave the U.S. And it says here, propped up repeatedly, enough different sources that seems to stem from a genuine belief that the 1 million people will be asked to leave once the truth is out.
Okay. I will explain a little bit about this one. There were about 2 million people that were forced into the satanic cult. They were ritually abused. They don't belong to the cult by their free will. And after the event, those people will need healing. Yes, there were certain negotiations for those people to go to North Korea, but those negotiations failed because this is not the part of the plan of the Galactic Confederation. Most of the people that were forced into those cults are genuine, innocent people that were forced to do negative things, and they need our support and healing. And a small percentage of the cabal which organized all that will have to be held responsible for this. And there will be no mass exodus of people taking place. But yes, there have been talks in certain circles about this, so those rumors are correct, but this is not going to happen.
And 2 million people covered, that's a lot of people to have.
Yes, about 1% of the population has been involved in this.
And it's such a horrific thing. If you haven't, I read Transformation of America with Kathy O'Brien. Did you ever read that?
Yes, I'm aware of that.
Yeah.
And if you would like to be more informed, it will actually be a good thing to inform yourself about this, but I'm warning you, it is not an easy material to digest.
No, it is not. Anyway, so what do you feel about Blair? He's also indicating that he's just been singing like a canary, I think is his exact words.
Okay, many of members of the cabal have been interrogated for a short period of time. They have been detained, questioned, and released. There was one wave of this happening last year in February, and another shorter period of this happening in May. A few people have been detained for a couple of hours and questioned.
Good. So now, is there truly an audit going on within the Federal Reserve? I mean, is that being effective? Is it happening? If so, what kind of information do you have on that?
Okay, it is happening, but the cabal is trying to slow down and interfere with the process. There are many blockages, many obstacles. The process is taking place, but there is a lot of interference with that.
Okay, but at least they are trying, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
They're actually doing it, but as I said, there's a lot of opposition to that.
Okay, now Cobra.
Media about that.
Okay. I asked you this at the conference, and he also brought it up again, and that is, he's saying that some sources are saying the takedown has already begun, the firing of 26 generals has started, and now the IRS is being taken down as well.
Okay, when the second election of Obama happened, there was a certain operation, cleanup operation, which started in November, and yes, certain people have been arrested, certain people have been taken down, but it is minor compared to what needs to be done.
Okay. And he also mentions the high-level crime syndicate has been finally brought down, and there's going to be a redistribution of all of their assets. Where is that going to go?
Actually, what's happening in all the mafia societies around the world, there is a certain restructuring taking place, because before all the mafias have been connected directly to the cabal. Now parts of those organizations are trying to break off. So there is a certain restructuring taking place, regardless of the location, everywhere around the world.
God, there's so many changes going on. So now, how about, I thought this was very interesting. He also mentioned that Asia, China, South Korea, Japan, and the U.S. have all agreed on forcing the regime change in North Korea. Can you expand upon that? How is that affecting us? Why is that a positive?
Because the North Korea is the most isolated nation on the planet. It's like a big concentration camp, and this has to change.
Wow. I didn't know that. I did not.
I would actually ask people to become more aware of the situation in North Korea, because people there are on the brink of starvation all the time.
Oh.
It's the country with the worst living conditions on the planet. So it's good to be informed about that and to spread this through the mass media a little bit more. The situation there is not nice.
So is that because, because they've always been presented to us as like warmongers?
Again, there's so much disinformation through the mass media, so people would not be aware of the situation.
That's quite a wake-up call, man. That's a wake-up call for me.
They are suppressed. That's much worse than in any other country on the planet right now.
So sorry to hear that. Whew. Wow. Okay. Jeez. So now there's also been, as you know, there's just been a ton of information on China, and apparently they've been hacking the Department of Defense. Was the resistance behind that?
No.
That was a totally different separate item.
Yeah.
Now it also...
on the agenda, of course, they have very skillful hackers there.
Yeah, that's true. Now, Ben says Russians, Indians, and Japanese, who all share the borders of the Chinese, have already formed military alliances, making it very clear that they will not be going along with the cabal plans to offer another world control through China. Any comments on that?
It is a process of shifting alliances. There have been a lot of connection and talk between the militaries of all those countries. China, Japan, India, Russia, they are talking all the time. And those alliances are shifting as the situation shifts. But the general, I would say, underlying note of all this is to create a unified front against the cabal. But this alliance has not been stabilized yet. So the changes and shifting of alliances, this is taking place from month to month.
And do you feel the BRICS alliance is a great portion of that?
It is connected with that. So we have the military people and we have the financial people who are working on the same goal.
Cool. Now, who was behind the whole destroying of the GMO corn? Because Monsanto's really been hit hard this last month. A lot of people have been protesting worldwide, and there's been a rejection of our GMO corn. I also think wheat was rejected by Japan. I mean, there's just been a ton of it, as well as apparently Monsanto is not going to be able to sell their GMO foods. I mean, it goes on and on. Monsanto really got hit hard. So what is your perspective on that?
Okay, I will just say as much as I can. There is a certain small positive group that had a plan to do this long time ago, and they were working hard, and there's a coordinated action to break down the monopoly and the power of Monsanto, and the results are here.
I really agree with that because I don't know anybody that wouldn't like to see them go down.
Yeah, this is part of a long operation, a lot of hard work, a lot of dedicated people, and coordinated effort, which was classified for a long time and then just sprang into action.
Okay. Well, I have so much more to ask you, and I think we'll do another session just to cover up more of the events. But in the meantime, while we tie this up, is there anything you wanted to say about the conference in Hawaii?
Yes, we have anchored the goddess presence as the portal was open. This was very much needed. So to integrate and balance the male and female aspect, and we are starting to form goddess support groups around the planet. More about that will be released in my blog when the time is right.
Oh, that's good news. That's a great idea.
Yes, it will happen.
Yeah, it's a great idea. Okay, well, I want to thank all of you that sent in your questions, and if you have more, I know some of these questions, Cobra, were a little bit repetitive for you, but there's a lot of new people coming on board that are listening to us, and so I apologize if they were repetitive for you, but I think people needed to hear them. And
yeah, for people, I would just say go to my blog. There are so many articles in there, and read all of them. You will get a lot of information, a lot of understanding. There are over 200 posts, and read all of them.
yeah, and if you go to galacticconnection.com, talk about information. You will have
thousands of items there. So.
Yeah, I think I'm up to over 6,000 postings of news around the world. So anyway, thank you, Cobra, so much. I appreciate you doing this in the car in Hawaii with no internet connection.
Yeah. This is my first interview in the car, so yeah.
There's always a first for everything, huh?
Yes.
Okay, well, blessings, everyone. We keep the meditations going, keep them going, and we will all keep you posted on the up-and-coming New Society Conference and the breakout groups that Cobra has discussed. We've got so much going on. We're just trying to get settled so that when the levee breaks, we're prepared.
Yeah, very good. Thank you.
Okay, everyone. Take care. Have a great day.